Hi, everyone. This is Hannah Carsonell, and tonight I'm going to be discussing how to support students through policy, and I'll be going through new K through 12 equitable policies that have been implemented in Massachusetts. I'm with Quarantine Racism Educational Services. So let's do a bit of an overview, see what we're going to discuss for tonight. First, I'll be talking about us as an organization. Then I'll be introducing you to our team, do an introduction to the information we'll be going over, a little bit about my background, discuss what supporting students through policy looks like, new equitable K through 12 policies in Massachusetts, an in-depth look at these various policies, policy intention versus policy implementation, how to address disparities in policy intention implementation, and then I will be concluding. So, about us, Quarantine Racism Educational Services, our motto is Black Learners Matter Too. And we're dedicated to serving students, supporting teachers, admin, and parents through emphasizing equity and the strengths of diversity in the classroom. We are Black owned, veteran owned. We provide free resources such as toolkits and guides for educators. We have an equity professional development course. We have textbooks for sale. We have free articles, graphics, and videos on our various initiatives and current events in education. We do live stream presentations such as this and panel discussions on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have developed a new Spotlight speaker series that I had come up with when we had a guest speaker join us. And we'll definitely be doing some more of those. I just need to reach out to some guest speakers for that. And we go live on the Quarantine Racism Educational Services Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube accounts. And then at the bottom, I just have my referral link. So it is www.quarantineracism.com/ref=Hannah. So this is our team here. There's Dr. Almuman, who's a racial equity brand ambassador based in Nevada. She's a former professor, and her areas of expertise are grant acquisition, adult learning, and transformative education. Dr. Campbell is our founder, based in New Jersey. He's a former principal, educator, math teacher. His areas of expertise are educational services, consulting, and tax preparation. And there's me. I'm a racial equity brand ambassador based in Massachusetts, former grassroots organizer, and my areas of expertise are policy research and analysis, grassroots and nonprofit work, as well as cultural anthropology. So this is my background. So I went to UMass Amherst for my bachelor's and my master's degrees. So I got my bachelor's in political science with a minor in anthropology. And then I got my master's in public policy. So my areas of expertise within policy are racial justice policies, energy policy, environmental justice, education policy, criminal justice reform, disability policy. So for anthropology, my different areas of expertise are cultural anthropology, African American anthropology, Native American anthropology, forensic anthropology, and political anthropology. So, some of my experience, I have 7 years of nonprofit work, grassroots organizing work within racial justice activism, gun reform and gun violence prevention advocacy, civic engagement, voter registration and restoration campaigns, environmental racism, environmental justice, energy policy, and education policy. So, to introduce today's topic, just wanted to discuss how these are such trying times for education policy, as well as a lot of other kinds of policy and realms with the strict federal guidelines and how funding has impacted pretty much every sector, including education. So, the state of Massachusetts, however, has managed to create and implement new equitable policies in K through 12 education, even with current bans on DEI and the situation of ICE overreaching and breaching constitutional rights in various American cities right now. So, supporting students through policy, what does this look like? So, when considering policy issue, you want to consider the prevalent issues students are struggling with and think about how these issues can be addressed by policy and why are they not being addressed by current policies. So, then for policy impact, you want to examine how current policies are impacting students, determine how the new policy might have a positive impact on students and schools overall, and in general, center students in policymaking and keep them in mind and how policies will affect them. So, new equitable K through 12 policies in Massachusetts. So, starting off, we have the Protect Education Equity Bill, which explicitly affirms the right to a public education in Massachusetts for students of all immigration statuses and students with disabilities. There are also state level DEI guidelines that have gone out. There's been a guidance statement. So, according to this, schools must re examine their practices and comply with anti discrimination and anti bullying laws. Schools must as well create programs promoting DEI or maintain and reinforce current programs. So, equity in student fees, financial assistance for students who can't afford certain programs, events, etc. Workforce equity, bills collaborations between schools and districts to have diverse and culturally equipped faculty. So, that's more of a school and district to district policy. So, for the Protect Education Equity Bill, some of the things that it does is establishes, again, education as a right for all students, no matter the immigration status or disability. It provides translators that are trained for ESL families. It addresses disproportionate punishment towards students with disabilities and provides special education services for ESL learners with disabilities. And then I just wanted to share that picture on the right, which is from the organization Massachusetts Advocates for Children. And it's just showing them doing some of that on the ground grassroots work and how they've been fighting for this bill. So, the state level DEI guidance by Governor Healy and AG Campbell fights against the Trump administration's Department of Education DEI bans. Governor Healy and Attorney General Campbell initiated this, and there's a focus on college prep for students with marginalized backgrounds. And schools, it states that schools should implement policies that promote solidarity and belonging for students of all backgrounds and give everyone more opportunities and create a more equitable space and environment within schools. So, equity in student fees. So, this provides financial assistance for students for programs, events, and extracurriculars. And in turn, it promotes inclusivity in extracurriculars for students coming from low income families that previously might not be able to participate in certain extracurriculars and different programs, sports, various events that would cost a good amount of money. Um, so, yeah, it just promotes inclusivity in extracurriculars and gives everyone a chance to participate in those and have a better experience. Workforce equity. This is the one that I spoke about that is a bit more district to district and school to school. So it's an initiative for diverse and culturally responsible faculty. It promotes a sense of belonging and understanding for students, and connection and understanding between students and faculty, which then leads to greater outcomes and less conflicts between faculty, students, and their families in turn. So I thought this was an important thing to address, policy intention versus policy implementation, because as it says on the bottom, sometimes the intention of a policy does not reflect its implementation and impact. And this can be purposefully, this can be consciously, subconsciously, or it can be from outer factors that are affecting whatever policy is implemented. So, the intentions for these policies are to promote equity and embrace diversity, to establish an environment in which students of every background feel supported, to foster connections between all faculty and students, embrace solidarity, as well as maintaining or creating DEI programs. And then, when it comes to policy implementation at this time, the new Trump administration federal policies can get in the way of attempting to implement equitable policies. And some examples of this are schools not allowing ICE without any warrants still being breached. During my last presentation, I showed a video where a mother was picking up her children from school and ICE without a warrant did detain her. And federally funded different DEI programs have been losing funding. So that's a way in which the intention of policies can be have a disparate effect than the with the policy implementation versus the intention. So how can we address these disparities in policy intentions and implementation? So I wanted to put a little chart there, equitable policies in the middle, then the intention is to address disparities for students with marginalized backgrounds, promote a sense of unity, support, and belonging. And then the disparities are the current state of the Trump admin DEI bans, loss in funding, lack of ICE-free sensitive zones, and warrantless detainments. And the impact as a result are that some new equitable policies are being limited by federal guidelines because of these DEI bans, less funding, and the encroachment of ICE. So some programs have been losing funding, and these are different ways that we can address this. So for programs losing funding, you can reach out to related nonprofits to partner with the NAACP, diversify. Our Narrative is one organization that I found that promotes DEI in schools and I think supports a lot of different programs at schools. So, warrantless ICE detainments on school property. This can be addressed by reaching out to the ACLU and local attorneys, even though right now a lot of things do seem hopeless with everything that's occurring, but it's still important to fight back and we can't just give up and be hopeless because I believe I stated this before in one of my presentations, but in a fascist government, they want you to believe that they're stronger and more popular than they actually are. And in reality, they're weak. And that's why they're trying to push these policies on everyone and why they're trying to limit things like free speech and free expression. So, continuing the same nature of programs, but changing the names and strategies. We spoke about this earlier on this year and I think past year. So, considering socioeconomic status and potential first generation college students, zip code specific admission encompassing historically oppressed communities, adversity based scores can be used to account for oppressive systems, An equitable lottery system supporting students coming from historically underserved communities. So, in conclusion, centering and supporting students through policy leads to a positive environment which promotes belonging, solidarity, and connection between students, faculty, and families, leading to a better school environment and greater educational outcomes. And then here's how you can contact us. I have the quarantine racism accounts, Dr. Campbell's accounts, Dr. Moomin's, and mine. And these are just the sources used.